Metroid is considered to be one of the great video game series of all time, and for good reason too. When I first saw this box art right here, I had no idea what to make of it. Looking at the back of the box didn't help either, it was just odd. And in short, I only played the game after a friend of mine borrowed it from somebody else, and I was hooked immediately. To this day, the original Metroid is seen by many as a limited game that was able to set the mood and ambience right with such limited technology behind it. It didn't hold your hand, it didn't let you know what to do next, and it threw you right into the pit and challenged you to find your way out. So when I heard about a ROM hack that built upon the original Metroid yet made it different enough to be seen as a completely new game, it seemed fascinating to me. I had heard many good things about this Rogue Dawn, but would it live up to expectations? Would it be as good as I read about? Stay tuned, I am about to get into this ROM hack in detail. This game is a complete overhaul of the original Metroid graphics. The original game comes in at only 129 kilobytes, and after the update and patch, it balloons all the way up to 729 kilobytes. To give you a comparison, Kirby's Adventure is considered the largest NES game, and that one clocks in at 768 kilobytes. Not a big difference between the two. According to the info sheets that are found with the ROM hack, the original game consisted of 188 screens, and this ROM hack brings that number up to 726, with many graphical structures and objects created from scratch for this ROM hack. So basically this goes beyond just a graphical facelift. This is like a whole new game. The story takes place 30 years before the events of the first Metroid. You don't play as Samus, but as Dawn. I'm not gonna get into the details so as to not spoil it for anyone out there that might want to play it and experience it for themselves, but in short, the story explains how the pirates were able to grab the Metroid specimen that is briefly mentioned in the original Metroid NES manual. Dawn is similar to Samus from Zero Mission, with no suit. She has no suit like Samus, but she is able to switch between various ones as she traverses different parts of SR388, such as the underwater section here. This is something that happens automatically as you travel from area to area. You don't need to go into any menus or anything like that. I'm gonna get to that. Speaking of which, there are many different areas to explore here. When I first played it and saw a map is made available to you right from the start, I thought to myself, oh, this is gonna be an easy game. Oh no, I was wrong. I was so wrong. The game doesn't show you where to go next, it just drops you off in the planet and you have to figure out where you can and you can't go and try to survive long enough to find the right items to help you navigate further. I had a hard time finding some items since there are little hidden spaces scattered about all over the place, and even though you might be looking at the map and seeing that you should be able to get from one side of it to the next, there is usually something in the way and finding your way around is very tricky. The map screen is small, and I mean really small. That was something that I got used to, but it took a bit of time. And you can scroll in all directions to look at the entire map layout after pressing start. You have to press in the direction that you want to scroll repeatedly. You can't just hold down the directional pad. And that is a little bit annoying, but that's just me being picky. Finding your way around is not the only issue. There are enemies everywhere that can kill you quickly if you're not careful. And this game, it's tough. You do start off with the ability to morph into a ball, but the first few sections you come across make it plain as day that the power-up alone will not be enough. Dawn will eventually have access to many weapons and suit upgrades just like the original Metroid, plus a few new ones, but never the suit that we are all used to seeing Samus wear in the regular Metroid game. I am glad the developers went this route since it gives the game its own identity while still paying homage to the original game. You can also find energy tanks that go a long way into helping you survive longer, just like in the original Metroid. In the meantime, memorize where the healing stations are. They are scattered about, and just position yourself over them to regain all of your health. Dawn can shoot up and to both sides, but not down. Just like Samus, she also has access to missiles at an early point in the game, but you'll be using them mostly on enemies since there aren't many red doors that I can find in this game like in the original Metroid. Some doors are even broken and some you can use a bomb to get through them. I wasted a lot of time trying to figure out how to get these gray doors to open, only to find out you can't. At least, I don't think you can. I just found my way around them in the map. The overall graphics and sprites are much smaller than the regular Metroid game. This allows you to get a glimpse of more of the surroundings. Does take away a bit from the claustrophobic feel of the original Metroid game, but with the amount of hidden paths and exits overall, the larger view is a welcome feature here. Like I stated before, there is no inventory screen or weapon screen here, and there is no need for one when you think about it. All the power-ups that you get will be in constant use automatically once they are picked up. The soundtrack is all new here, with the occasional short tune from obtaining a power-up giving you a taste of the original Metroid sound effects. Every track here feels right at home, with some eerie tunes to go with each area of the game. The original Metroid had only a few tracks with 4 main area tunes from what I can remember. This game has 18 new tracks overall, and I have yet to reach the end of the game, but I can honestly say that the soundtrack has yet to disappoint. Great stuff here, and I can't wait to see what the music developers were able to conjure up as I travel deeper into the planet. But how are the controls? Overall, very tight controls that allow a good deal of freedom in how you jump and navigate through the air. There is a good deal of platforming here, and this amount of control in your jumps will go a long way in helping you with those spots. The only part I had a problem with was in some of the screen transitions where it felt a bit slippery and sometimes felt like your character was pushed way past that point after switching to the new screen. It's a bit difficult to explain, but once you play it, you will immediately realize what I'm talking about. Enemies will also sometimes follow you as you transition from screen to screen, damaging you in the process. If I recall, the original game also had that annoying feature where if an enemy followed you into a door, you would take damage as you passed through from one side to the other. The game also has a save feature and 3 spots available for use that feel very similar to the Super Metroid Save Dash load screen. One little problem I did have with this, however, is that if you hit either continue or save, the game will throw you back to the beginning of whatever area you are currently in. So don't save the game unless you are absolutely sure it's what you want to do. It does help, however, if you get stuck or fail in making a jump and falling down a long way, so instead of making your way back up slowly, it might be easier to just go into the menu and selecting continue, having the game throw you back all the way to the beginning of that area. I did that many times. After Metroid AM2R, which I consider to be the peak of fan-made games, this hack of the original Metroid game is superb and right up there with AM2R as examples of what is possible in the right hands. Rogue Dawn is right now my favorite hack of the original game. In fact, to me at least, it feels so different, yet never strays too far from the source material that I feel that calling it a hack is a huge injustice. This right here is a standalone title that adds to the Metroid lore, even though it is not canon. But for the amount of time that you are immersed yourself in playing this game, it almost feels like it is. And I highly recommend that you try this game out. But wait, you might be asking yourself, how exactly do I play this Gaming Quarterly guy? Well, you're gonna need a few things. Actually, 3. An emulator of your choice. I use Messen, which is my favorite NES emulator. An original ROM of Metroid. Please do not ask me where to obtain ROMs. I do not know what a ROM is. What's a ROM? And IPS, the ROM patch software that allows the original ROM to be updated. Check out romhack.net. Search for the Rogue Dawn hack. Download the file, open up IPS, apply the patch to the Metroid ROM, and rename it to whatever you want. Then, once the patch is applied, open up the newly created ROM and prepare to get lost in the Metroid world all over again. Now, before I end this video, I have to give a huge shout out to all the fans that put so much hard work into making this game. You guys really did one hell of a job. So if any of you are watching this video, that's a big if. Thanks to every single one of you. Great job here. With that said, October is starting soon, and that means it's time for my Halloween themed videos. This year though, I won't be doing a 30-day gaming marathon like the last 2 years, but rather a few specific Halloween themed videos that I think will be perfect for this time of year. Stay tuned as I go over the history of horror games throughout the years for my first October video. Stay tuned for that one. Until then, keep watching, keep gaming, and as always, take care of yourselves.